Hey there, this is Intisam with Farsight. Today we're diving into some fascinating ancient myths from around the world with a special spotlight on African mythology and the insights of a remarkable man named Credo Mutwa. Now, Credo Mutwa wasn't just any storyteller, he was a sangoma, a traditional healer of the Zulu nation, and he had some pretty wild stories to share about the origins of humanity and the beings who might have shaped our history. Let's start with Credo Mutwa. Born in 1921, he spent his life preserving and sharing the ancient knowledge of his people. One of the most intriguing stories he told was about the Chitauri, a race of reptilian beings that, according to him, have been pulling the strings behind the scenes for thousands of years. Mutwa described the Chitauri as powerful beings who came down from the sky and basically decided the fate of humanity. They didn't do it through kindness or wisdom, though. They did it by spreading fear, controlling what we know and keeping us divided. If that sounds familiar, it might be because this idea of beings from above meddling with human affairs shows up in myths all over the world. Let's take a closer look at the Chitauri story. Mutwa said that these beings introduced languages that separated people, which brings to mind the biblical tale of the Tower of Babel. You know the one, where humans, once united by a single language, tried to build a tower to reach the heavens. But God, not too thrilled with their ambition, scattered them by mixing up their language. Suddenly, they couldn't understand each other, and that was the end of their grand project. It's a story about division and loss of unity, much like what the Chitauri was said to have done. But here's the thing, this theme pops up in other cultures too. In ancient Sumer, the Anunnaki were celestial beings who played a huge role in the creation of humans. Over in Mesoamerica, Quetzalcoatl and Kukulkan, the feathered serpent gods, were seen as the beings who came from the stars to teach humans various things. These stories suggest that our ancestors might have been trying to tell us something important, maybe even about encounters with beings from beyond our world. So, could these myths be more than just stories? Credo Mutwa thought so. He believed the Chitauri weren't just figures from folklore, but real entities whose influence we can still feel today. His teachings challenge us to dig deeper into these ancient myths, to consider the possibility that they might be echoing real-life events, a past where humans and extraterrestrial beings crossed paths. In many ancient cultures, psychic gifts and remote viewing weren't just accepted, they were a way of life, a vital part in understanding the world. Growing up in Kenya, I was aware of some fascinating examples of this. Sages and prophets like Mugwa Kibiru, Masaku, Syokimau, and Kimnyole were known for their extraordinary abilities to foresee the future. Long before colonialists arrived, these visions predicted their coming with remarkable accuracy. They spoke of things like iron snakes spewing black smoke, referring to the coming of trains and railroads, and described the arrival of light-skinned people who would disrupt their way of life. What's truly fascinating is how these prophecies align with what we now recognize as remote viewing, the ability to perceive events across time and space without being physically present. For these sages, seeing beyond the physical world was just another part of their spiritual practice, deeply integrated into their culture and understanding of the universe. Their prophecies aren't just about foresight, they're about understanding the broader forces at play, much like the myths of the Chitauri and other beings. These stories from our past can offer us a different kind of disclosure, one that comes not from the governments or documents, but from the wisdom and visions of those who came before us. As we explore these stories from different cultures, a picture begins to form. A world where the divine, the alien, and the human were all connected in ways we're only beginning to understand. Credo Mutwa's work, along with the insights of Kenyan sages, invites us to rethink what we know about history and our place in the universe. Maybe the stories of the Chitauri, the Anunnaki, and other beings are more than just ancient tales. They could be clues, pieces of a bigger puzzle that's been right in front of us all along, hidden in the myths and legends passed down through generations. If you've got similar stories from your culture, I'd love to hear them. Share them on the Farsight Forum and let's keep this conversation going. Thanks for joining me on this journey through ancient myths and hidden truths. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and I'll see you next time.